Hello you lovely, lovely people, and today I'm sat in the office doing this video. One, because it's raining outside, and the other, I'm so knackered. I'm just so knackered, so I'm going to have a chilled out day. And, I want to talk about setting boundaries with your relatives from your Filipino wife, because it really did save our family. It did, people, really. And it was eating into our budget. At the very beginning, when the wanting was starting, it was just little small things, can we lend 500 pesos? Can we lend 1,000 pesos? Well, at the beginning, I must admit, they did give it back. They did give it back. But then, as the time went on, these kind of loans, if you like, they become larger. And we ended up not getting anything back. And the loans which they were asking for was for things that were not necessities, like rice and things like that. And in the end, they were like asking for washing machines, which I did mention this in a video maybe a year and a half ago or something like that. And I had to draw the line. I had to draw the line because it was causing problems between me and Mira. Mira was on my side, but I know how she was feeling because causing animosity in the family with herself. And it was eating into the budget. It really was, because it was becoming very frequent that these wantings were taking place. From starting off at once every couple of months or something like that. And bearing in mind, people, I did used to take rice round there, maybe once every month, once every 6 weeks. I'd take a half sack, because there was the uncle, the auntie, and their kids, and I didn't mind doing that because that was down to me. And I did repair the house for them as well. It was a half concrete house, hollow block house, and then the rest was plywood. Yeah, and it only had one wall of plywood. And I saw it, and I said, look, we'll change this to Hardiflex. My idea, I foot the bill for that, which that's fair enough because that was my offering. And the ceiling, where their roof was, it was an old roof. It wasn't painted, it wasn't treated. It was just a cheap tin roof, and it was leaking. And the plywood ceilings were all just coming down. Anyway, I changed that, and then I found, people, this is what I found out, is the more that I was doing, the more that they was expecting. Maybe not wanting, but expecting. And this is when it become a problem for us. And it does your mental health in. It did, really. And when they keep wanting, you kind of build up this resentment towards them. I did. And in the end, my wife wasn't answering texts because they were texting. And with schooling as well, because their eldest child at the time, still is, was going to a school where they had to pay for exams and this, that and the other. And I was even footing the bill for that. And I'm thinking, well, hold on. Who did this before I come along? Nobody. They did it themselves. And like I said, it was putting a strain on our relationship. Seriously, it was. And I was that far from just thinking to myself, well, I tell you what, if this is going to continue, then I'm getting out of this. And anyway, I did set the boundaries. And once I set those boundaries, the animosity, people, honestly, the animosity, the bad feeling, I stopped going there. I used to drop Mira off once every month, once every 6 weeks. And I would just leave. I would go into Diplomatic, I'd go into McDonald's, or I would go and see my friends on the boulevard if they were fishing on the breakwater. And I'd spend half a day with them rather than me go around. So God knows what was being said when I wasn't there. But I didn't care. I didn't care. Like I said, I was that close, people. Really, I was. And then the turning up at the house, the unexpected visits that you got, and they were 9 times out of 10 they were unannounced, and they would just turn up, and I'm thinking, oh, here we go, and it was always on a Sunday. I didn't mind them coming round, but I knew they were coming round with a hardship story, and I used to say at first, when they first come round, I would, what do you want to drink? Yeah, a cup of coffee, blah, blah, blah. And he didn't drink tea or coffee, anything like that. So she used to drink, what was it? This 24/7 thing. It's like orange or grape flavoured juice. So I'd go and get that and blah, blah. And I knew when I was out getting the juice, because I wasn't expecting them coming, see, so I wasn't prepared. I would go out and I knew that they would be on at Mira, and I would come in and I'd see Mira's face, and she'd look at me when they weren't looking, and she'd just go like that. And that's when I kind of flipped in a way, and I flipped without raising my voice. And I said to them, I said, this has got to stop. And I remember saying this, and I remember her uncle looking down at the floor like that, and he was smoking. And I said that, if you want to smoke, that's fair enough, but there's no smoking in the house. If you want to smoke, you smoke outside. And he kind of stood up very quickly, and I thought he was going to have a go at me. I really did. I thought, oh, whoa, hold on a minute. But he didn't. He just stood up quickly, and he had the hump, and he went outside. And within about 5 minutes or so, they start talking in Eversire. Mira started to raise her voice a little bit, and Mira never raises her voice. And they left. And I said, what did they say, Mira? And she was reluctant to tell me what they said. And they said, what are you doing with him for? He's a very tight foreigner. Because they was wanting me to continually give him. When I set those, I didn't even set the boundary. I just went from giving to nothing straight away. Especially when they ask for a washing machine. Come on, people, a washing machine is not a necessity. It's not a matter of, your belly rumbling because you're hungry. That is a luxury, as far as I'm concerned. And all of the money that was given to them, except, like I said from the very beginning, we never got back. So it's a gift, isn't it? As they call it here, it's a gift. And it is a gift. And that goes for Filipino friends as well. And I would strongly suggest, if Filipino friends ask to borrow money, think if you can afford to lose that money, because you might get it back. And again, all families aren't like this. And now this family that I'm talking about now, that were that kind of family in the very beginning, since what's happened since then, it's different. Now it's a good family that I can get on with, because they know that they cannot cross any boundaries with me now regarding money. And we are getting on better now. We are getting on better. But I think it's their mindset. Their mindset is, and bearing in mind, this is not her mum and dad. Her mum and dad have never asked me for a penny. They've never asked for nothing. Seriously. And they are in a worse position than what Mira's uncle and auntie are. So it was only the uncle and auntie that was asking. Mira's mum and dad, Mira would sometimes send, 200 or 300 pesos to her mother through GCash. And but that was it. And that wasn't because I don't believe she was asking, but Mira would just send it. She says, I'm just going to send my mum 2 or 3. It was 200 pesos one time, 300 pesos, but it was never over that kind of amount, And like I said, they never asked. But what I'm saying is, be prepared for all of this. Many families don't do it. I know they don't, especially, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way to Mira or anything like that, but I think when you come and you are with a Filipino who's working and their family are educated family and have got good jobs, many of the people around here, even in this little rural province where we are, this barangay, Many of them work in the local council and municipality. But I think with Mira's family, Mira's mum and dad are very simple people, and they are Subanon or Subanen tribe, so they're from the mountains. And the mum and dad, father's always been a farmer. He's always farmed. Mira's uncle and auntie, well, the auntie, and she never did anything. I think she worked for a foreigner once in Manila, being a housemaid, but it didn't last long. She come back after 6 or 7 months, couldn't stand it, you see, because it was work. And the uncle, he used to work in the terminal before COVID-19, so he used to earn quite a lot of money for tips and things like that, and he worked 7 days a week. But since the COVID came, their income was very minimal, and the uncle then was just doing a habble, like on a 2-wheel motorcycle, taking people here and there for 20, 30, 40, 50 pesos a ride. But nevertheless, they survived before I come along, and just because I come along, I shouldn't be expected to take care of them as well, because I didn't marry them. I married Mira, and I've got my own family to take care of. And even if I was more wealthy, I still would have felt the way I felt, because I thought they were crossing lines with me, people. They were crossing boundaries all the time. And all the time I was giving, I was the best thing since sliced bread. But once I stopped, I was like the devil. That's what I think they were classing me as the devil. And I've got to state this as well, many Filipino families, and even your Filipina, perhaps, but the families of the Filipino that you're with think because you are a foreigner and you are here, they automatically think that you have got untold wealth. And if only they knew, and if you said to them, like I did, look, as I'm on a budget, I've got no pension, we are surviving. They just don't believe that. They just simply, it just goes over their heads. It goes over their heads. So you've got to set these boundaries, people. You really have. Otherwise, it might split you up from your partner. If it doesn't split you up, it's definitely going to cause you mental health issues, really, where you're dreading them coming round. You're dreading, that text when you see your partner, and you know what it's about because you just see their face and and I said again, and she say, yeah, again, they're asking again, but now nothing. And as I said, I think yesterday, that's they have changed significantly. Now I've got them an apartment, a flat. We call them flats in England. It's an apartment, what they call here, and it's a 2-bedroom apartment, and they all happily living in this apartment now, rather than living in that house, which was run down. I mean, I sorted out, as best as I could, but they had to leave there anyway because the landlord was developing that area into apartments, funnily enough. So they are in this apartment now, which I got them, and the rent is always paid because the uncle is working for the landlord. So that's all hunky dory. But you've got to think as well, when you upset your Filipina's wife, your wife's family, and if you are living in that area, your wife's family will talk about you to the local people in that community. So, like many people say, don't live in the same place. I mean, we come out here, which is only about 25, 30 kilometers, I think, from Dipolog, something like that. So we're away from it to a degree. We aren't on a different island. We aren't in a different province. We are in the province of Zamboanga del Norte, and so are they. But I think if you're living in that same environment, because lots of Filipino families live in the same little area, and they do, there's a family, the brothers there, the sisters there, the other brothers there, the mum and dad's here, the grandma. And I think I couldn't think of anything worse than that. I couldn't think of anything worse. So set your boundaries, people. Don't let it destroy your relationship. If it gets to that, just set your boundaries. don't have blurred lines where one day you give in and the next day you're not. The next day you just either just set it or don't set it. That's what you've got to do, and you've got to be forceful of that decision that you've made as well. And that's it for today, people. I'm a bit worn out. Really am. I've been here. I've been out this morning, 5:30 with my son at the river. Now we was going to do a little bit of fishing, but he wanted to come home. I thought, yes, great, because I didn't want to do it, to be honest with you. I wanted to come home. I went out without breakfast. No breakfast, no nothing. Come back. I've had my coffee, and now I'm relaxing now. And it's raining, so that's why I'm doing this video here. But listen, people, take good care of us. It's Saturday morning. I'm going to upload this video now. And have a damn good weekend, and whatever you do, and try and do it well. And I'm over and out. See you next time, people. God bless you all. Bye-bye.